Hello guys and welcome to Collect Foundation TV. My name is JOAN, AYELA, and in today's episode we'll be talking about youth development, the problems of youth development, and the solution. Now I'll be starting with the definition of youth development. What is youth development? Youth development is a process that prepares a young person to meet the challenges of adolescence and adulthood and achieve his or her full potential. Youth development is promoted through activities and experiences that help youth develop social, ethical, emotional, physical, and cognitive competence. Now, what are the problems of youth development? We have corruption, we have unemployment, we have poverty, social media, lack of access to support, lack of quality education, and dependency. Because of time, we won't be able to look at all of this, but I'll just talk about a few. Now, let's start with corruption. Okay, now talking about corruption as our first problem of youth development. Now, you see, in a country as ours that have been characterized by greed, recklessness, misuse of public funds, all of these things have a way of exposing itself to our youth. Corruption in governments, government parastatals, and so on have a way of rubbing on our youth today. These days, we find a typical Nigerian youth with the dream of also going into politics or government, talking about going into government and partaking of their own share of the national cake, instead of thinking of ways to move the country forward. These are the things that have exposed itself to our youth of today, and these things have a way of changing the mindset of our youth. Corruption has a way of changing the mindset of our youth in a negative light. Now, moving on, the second point on the problems we have with youth development is unemployment. Now, statistics have shown that about 75% of the people who can work and are willing to work are not gaining employment. This is because if you all know, in our Nigerian of today, if you don't know one or two people in high places, even if you are capable of running the services needed, you cannot get a job because you don't know Mr. A or Mr. B. And these are the problems we are faced with in Nigeria today. These are the problems that we have when it comes to youth development today, because a lot of youth today cannot find jobs. You go to school, spend 4 years in university, 6 years in primary school, you are done with school with a good grade, and there are no jobs out there. So this is one of the problems we have when it comes to youth development in Nigeria, because even if you are able to do one or two things, the structures and the platforms are not put in place for you to establish yourselves. So this is one of the problems we have with youth development. Now, the third point is social media. In as much as social media has brought more good than harm, a lot of you will agree with me that these days social media has made a lot of us lazy. When I say lazy, in the aspect of reading books, we no longer read books. Instead, a lot of us now go on social media. Like you can see 4 friends sitting down, all of them are like concentrated on their phones. Nobody is having any interactions, nobody is learning from each other, everybody is just on their phone. And this has been the trend for a long time since the advent of social media now. Like a lot of you no longer read books, a lot of you no longer want to get involved in one or two things. They tie down their time in social media. Now, this is one of the problems we have when it comes to youth development. And as a result of this, a lot of youth are exposed to a lot of things like cyber criminality, online prostitution, violence, and what have you. So this is one of the problems we have when it comes to youth development in Nigeria. Now, the fourth point I'm going to be talking about that is a problem of youth development in Nigeria is lack of access to support. Now, it is said that encouragement boosts performance, but in our society today, youth with great ideas and intellect do not have the access to support that helps them to improve in their skills or their ideas. Most times, even youth with good plans or ideas might have the idea, even youth with ideas that can boost the economy no longer have access to support. That's because our government have not put like a structure in place to support the youths to support the ideas gotten from youth. There's no room place to like, I know growing up we used to have a platform where the government had an interactive session with the youth. That is no longer going on anymore in this time. Like there's no standard relationship between the government and the youth. There's no platform to bring the youth and the government together to be able to share ideas that can move the economy or the government forward. So these are the problems we have because there is no system in place to support youths that have ideas. I remember growing up, I watched some programs on NTA or AIT, I don't know, one of them, where you see youths that, there was this boy from the east that created a tractor that uses only water. But where is he today? We no longer hear about. We are no longer hearing about it. That's because the government do not pay attention to things like this. They don't pay attention to youth that have ideas, and this is one of the problems we have with youth development in Nigeria. Because even if you have your ideas, even if you have something that can shake the world, nobody wants to listen to you. Nobody wants to place a platform for you to be able to come and establish yourself or improve your skills. This is one of the problems we have when it comes to youth development in Nigeria. Now, the other point is lack of quality education. You all will agree with our educational system is very, very poor. Very poor. I remember when I was in secondary school, we had a computer lab. I cannot remember how many times we used the computer lab. Whether the computer lab was there for show, I don't know. That's because our educational system no longer teaches us the practical aspect of things anymore. I remember when I was very little then, when we were taking our agricultural classes rather, excuse me, our teacher takes us to the field. He will say, okay, plant vegetable like this. This is the first stage. You water the ground, you put the seed. After a while, it grows. This is what you do and what have you. But it is no longer like that anymore. Teachers just come to the class, teach you the theoretical aspects, and that is all. And at the end of the day, you go out there, you don't have any practical knowledge of anything. You are out there looking for a job. You have your paperwork to back that you went to school, but you don't have the practical knowledge. At this time and age where we are right now, it's expected that at least schools should be able to place a structure or a platform whereby there should be skill acquisition classes going on where you can learn skills, so that when you get to your university age level, you know, okay, you're good at this particular level already. Now, after all being said about the problems we have with youth development, what are the solutions? We as youth, what are we doing to empower ourselves? Since the government is not interested in empowering the youth anymore. Now, for me, the solution is skill acquisition. You have to have a craft. You have to have something you're good at doing. Because you agree with me these days that those are into hairstyling, electricians, technicians, carpenters, and what have you, are doing well in their fields. That's because they have the practical knowledge. They have the practical knowledge of what they're doing. So when a job comes anytime, they're ready to deliver. But you as a university graduate, you're out there looking for a job and there are no jobs out there waiting for you. So skill acquisition is the major source of empowerment. It's the major source of youth development right now. Get a skill, learn something. It's tailoring, it is hairdressing, it is makeup, if it is carpentry, learn something that you can source money from in the long run. So thank you guys so much for staying with me on this episode talking about youth development, and please don't forget to follow us on all our social media platforms. It is still Collect Foundation TV. Bye for now.